man the ring and the bracelets. She says, by the man whose these are, I am with child. And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet, the bracelets, and the staff. And Judah acknowledged them and said, she had been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more, meaning he no longer would have relations with her. Verse 27, and it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass as she drew back his hand that, behold, his brother came out, and she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. You need to remember that. And afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. This is one of those X-rated stories of the Bible that sometimes we don't study, and obviously why. But it's the story of this wonderful man Judah, who will be the, of course, patriarch of the tribe of Judah, the tribe that Jesus must be born from. That Judah loses his wife, refuses to give Tamar his last son. Then she goes and parades herself as a woman of the night. He goes and gives her his ring and his braces and his staff as compensation. And then she returns home. He sends his friend with the goat to get his stuff back. But the Adullamite friend cannot find her. But the rumor a couple of months later goes about the camp saying that Tamar is pregnant. Remember, she's mourning the death of her husband, but yet she's with child. So they decide, bring her here and we will burn her to death. But Tamar says, as she holds in her hand the ring and the bracelets, by the owner of these, I am pregnant with child. Second text, second case study, second mess. From the book of Ruth. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech. And the name of his wife was Naomi. And the name of his 2 sons was Mahlon and Chilion. Naomi, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. Chilion and Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah, excuse me. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. So Elimelech has died. Naomi is by herself, and her 2 sons now married men of Moab. The name of one was Oprah. The name of the other girl was Ruth. And their sons married these women of Moab, and they dwelled there for about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died, also both of them, and the women were left of the 2 sons and husbands. So now here is Naomi with her 2 daughter-in-laws. Her husband is dead, and her sons have died, and she's left with her 2 daughter-in-laws. So the 2 went unto, they came to Bethlehem, and it came to pass that when they were both come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. What had happened in this time was that Oprah had started to go with them back to Bethlehem, but Oprah decided to turn around, go home, and start a talk show. And I had to say that. But Ruth stayed with Naomi as if Naomi was her biological mother. And when they returned to Bethlehem, Naomi said unto them in verse 20, call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty have dealt bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. And why then call ye me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem, the house seat of the tribe of Judah. And they came at the time of the barley harvest. Now chapter 2 of Ruth says, and Naomi had kinsmen of her husband, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go out to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. Gleaning the field was going after the harvesters that come by, taking up out of the dirt what was simply left. And Naomi said to her, go, my daughter. Verse 3, and she went and came and gleaned the field after the reapers, and her lap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab, the county of Moab, the country of Moab, rather. Again, the word "ite," this is the Moabitess. Moabite on your maps now is the land we call Yemen, south of the southernmost part of the Arabian Peninsula. Moab is the land founded by the incestuous daughters of Lot, who got their own father drunk and had children by him. And the first child born to the oldest daughter and her father, they named Moab. And now this land is a place of despicable nature. No Jew likes Moabites. No Jew wants to be around Moabites because they are all descendants of the sin of Lot and his daughters. Now the Bible also gives us hints that the Moabites were easily recognized. True Moabites, and we've met some, we've had programs at the university with them, of the original stock are a very, very, very black people. Some of us call them the blue black people. There are some people in Yemen so black they look blue. So a Moabitess is easy to spot. In fact, the Jewish Old Testament professors will say that they were cursed with that blackness because of Lot's sin. We don't believe that, because we simply believe that where you live, the sun makes you what you are. It's the sun that makes you your depth of blackness. So we see that Naomi in chapter 3, Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto thy daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? And now is not Boaz of our kindred, whose maidens thou wast? Behold, he withereth barley tonight in the shining floor, on the threshing floor rather. Wash thyself therefore. Let me translate this to you. All it simply means is that when they finish the harvest, they have a party. And that's all it means. When they finish the harvest, they have a party. And what Naomi is saying, he's going to get drunk. Verse 3, she tells her, wash thyself therefore and anoint thee. That means put on something that smells good. And let me make this in common language. Put thy raiment on, put something on that looks good. And get down on the floor. In other words, lay down next to him, but make not thyself known unto the man until he shall have done eating and drinking. Now, and it shall be when he lieth down that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. Well, a drunk man don't always know what he's doing. Naomi tells Ruth to go and lay down at his feet, as typically where Jewish women laid at their men's feet. I ain't about to ask First Lady to lay down at my feet. Ain't gonna happen. But this is where the women lay. Naomi, being understanding of the culture, knew that when this man woke